We're going to begin this morning, though, in the Texas city of Perryton, where at least 3 people are dead. Dozens others are injured after a reported tornado ripped through the town yesterday.
Yeah, just a difficult situation here. A mobile home park took a direct hit. That tornado destroying more than 25 units there. It also left extensive damage behind in the downtown area. Search and rescue teams are combing through that debris, still looking for survivors. There were actually several tornado reports in Texas and Oklahoma. People also reported hail in several areas across the South, some seeing baseball-sized hail hitting their cars and homes, and of course, that caused significant damage. And elsewhere in Texas and in Louisiana, folks are just trying to find ways to stay cool this weekend as extreme heat continues. Temperatures spiking in the triple digits. And as many prepare for more severe storms and heat across the country, let's get a closer look at your Morning News Now forecast.
Meteorologist Michelle Grossman joins us now. And Michelle, I mean, we have those juxtaposed images, right, of all of this damage and then that sweet little girl in that splash pad. Tell us the latest of what's going on across the country.
I know, that's so true. And that's going to be the story today, really. We're going to see more of the same. We are stuck on repeat. So more severe storms and more really warm weather down south. We're looking at triple digits. It's going to feel more like 110 to 120 in spots. But starting with the severe weather, we had a wild day yesterday, just all day long, watching the storms. Overnight, same story. And even at this hour, we're watching some storms. So we have watches and warnings. Where you see the yellow, that's your severe thunderstorm watch. It extends from Texas all the way along the Gulf Coast. We have severe thunderstorm warnings. We even had tornado warnings. We continue to see that. And that will be the story as we go throughout the day. Really, really heavy rain, too. Pensacola has seen over a foot of rain, and we're adding to that. So this is a snapshot for today. Heavy rain in portions of the central and southern plains could see some severe weather there. Looking at the risk for some heat in the south, triple digits, and then looking at severe weather, too, along the Gulf Coast. This is what it looks like. This is the culprit here. It's a nearly stationary boundary. It's draped over the same area. It's triggering those storms. We're going to see that once again, and we could see winds once again gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Could see some really large hail, not expecting the 5-inch hail that we saw yesterday in some spots, and could see a few tornadoes as well, although the ingredients aren't quite as robust as they were yesterday. But still, 9 million people at risk for hail, damaging winds, a chance for a few tornadoes. As we look to the west, we're looking at Dodge City. You're likely to see some strong to severe storms. Little Rock, Jackson, Mobile, down to Tallahassee, same story. You need to be on alert. You've been on alert for days. You're going to do that once again today. And then look what happens tomorrow. Stuck on repeat once again. So this is Saturday. 6 million people still at risk for strong to severe storms. Winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Could see some hail once again. Also the chance of a few tornadoes. Oklahoma City, you've been dealing with this for days. Dodge City, same story. The Gulf Coast, Pensacola. Again, you have that heavy rain. We could see some flash flooding, could see some strong storms as well. So here's that flash flooding risk where you see this darker blue here, Mobile, Alabama into Tallahassee. We're looking at the chance for heavy, heavy downpours. And we do have some flash flooding occurring now, so you really want to be careful in this part. We'll talk more about this. We're going to talk more about the heat, too, coming up. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Let's go ahead and bring in NBC News correspondent Sam Brock in Perryton, Texas, with a look at the tornado damage. Sam, good morning.
Perryton, Texas, population 8,000, was just blindsided by multiple tornadoes. I'm standing right now at 1st and Main Street. This is the downtown strip right here. And look what it looks like right now. This used to be a gym, restaurants, bars, banks, all gone. Their city hall here houses both the fire and police departments. That is wiped out. 100 homes. 30 businesses either damaged or destroyed. You're talking about the very fabric of this community. As we spoke with the mayor this morning, who was seeing all of this for the first time and trying to just sort of process it, but he said they're getting donations and calls already. Folks are going to be picked up, and soon. But as far as what's going on right now in terms of injuries, 75 to 100 people have already been treated at a local hospital here, everything from minor cuts and bruises to a collapsed lung. 3 confirmed fatalities. 1 person still missing at this hour. We know that Texas A&M has search and rescue crews that are on their way right now who are preparing in the light of day to go through all of this debris, not specifically downtown, but the nearby neighborhoods that have just been flattened. I'm told of those 100 homes that were destroyed or damaged, about 40 or 50 of them come from mobile home development. So you're talking about people where everything they owned were in those homes. We know that there are going to be state officials here later today, meeting with the mayor and the fire chief as well, and then we're expecting a briefing later this morning. That's the latest here in Perryton. Sam Brock, NBC News.
Okay, Sam, thank you.
All right, now to the latest push for gun safety. Today, President Biden is set to make a speech at the National Safer Communities Summit. That event comes near the one-year anniversary of the signing of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That bill was signed following the aftermath of the Uvalde, Texas elementary school shooting and the shooting in Buffalo. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now with a preview of that event. Peter, good morning. So that event today happening at the University of Hartford. What can we expect there? And if you would, remind us of what exactly was in the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act.
Yeah, so, Stephen, it is by design that President Biden's going to be going to Connecticut today, of course, a state that has been a leader on gun safety laws in the decades since the awful tragedy there at Sandy Hook Elementary. Connecticut has one of the lowest gun violence rates in the country. And today the president's going to be joined by some state and local leaders. The former Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords will be there. She survived an assassination attempt back in 2011 in her district. And the president's really hoping to highlight the progress and to call on other states and Congress to do more. Just last month, on the anniversary of the Uvalde school shooting, President Biden said the U.S. still, in his words, has not done nearly enough to deal with gun violence. The Justice Department, they're expected to announce more than $70 million. I think it's $74 million in grants through the law intended to bolster the nation's background check system, what's called NICS, to make sure more records are available. That's fortifying part of what was completed in that law, passed in the law a year ago. And the Departments of Education, Health and Human Services, they're going to push ahead on mental health investments, detailing resources available to states that to these states that will have access to them thanks to that law a year ago. The president's repeatedly called for a new ban on assault-style weapons, as you've heard, like the one that he helped pass as a senator almost 30 years ago, but that expired in 2004. I suspect you will hear that call again. Some of the biggest takeaways, the biggest bipartisan effort that was passed a year ago in that bipartisan gun safety law was red flag warning, some furthering of the background check system as well. And the president's really going to try to amplify what was accomplished then and try to push forward with what more he says still needs to be done.
Hard to believe it's been almost a year since then. We'll be watching that one, Peter. Also wanted to ask the president making some comments yesterday going after those so-called junk fees, something he also mentioned in his State of the Union address. What were your takeaways from those remarks?
Yeah, this was a big deal, actually, and it's something that really affects every American. If you've ever gone online, try to buy tickets to a concert where it says it's $100 and you end up paying $140 when all the fees are tacked on. The White House has been cracking down on this. At the State of the Union, the president said Americans are sick of being played for suckers. And now, by this effort from the White House, a series of companies, some of the most high-profile ones in the business, have come forward voluntarily to say they're on board with this effort. The president touting Live Nation, the parent company of Ticketmaster, SeatGeek as well, both of them this summer will no longer hide fees from the total ticket cost for Live Nation in particular. They own about 200 venues around the country, and beginning in September, when you go online to purchase those tickets at those venues, you will see exactly what the total price is. The frustration that a lot of people experience, not just for tickets to concerts, but when you're trying to go to a hotel, perhaps even to an Airbnb, is that you could get so far into the process, 5 or 6 clicks, before you even realize what the real total cost was. The White House hopes that this effort will allow Americans a better way to compare and contrast the prices between different options presented to them to get the best deal available. As for Airbnb, Stephen, it was back in December that they went in on this all-in pricing where you see that number up front, and it's not hidden as it has been in the past, Stephen.
Yeah, so helpful. No one likes those surprise fees. All right, Peter, thank you.
That is some alarming news involving the nation's cybersecurity. The U.S. government says several agencies have fallen victim to data breaches recently. This is part of a cyber attack involving dozens of companies and organizations across the country. And the country's top civilian cybersecurity watchdog says the hackers are gaining access through a popular file-sharing software. NBC News global security reporter Dan Deluce joins us now with more on this attack. So, Dan, how did this happen? What do we know about the hackers and the scope of the attack?
Well, it's a very large-scale attack that started in private industry, and it's now hit several federal agencies, including the Energy Department. And as you said in your intro, it involves this software, a very popular tool called Move It, which allows you to move, transfer data securely. But here we find out it's not secure enough. The federal government says that They don't think there's any national security risk here, but they're still trying to get their arms around the extent of the potential damage and whether any extremely sensitive data or information may have been compromised.
What's being done to prevent something like this from happening again?
Well, this is the problem. They are trying to put out a patch now, this company that makes the software, to try to fix this weakness in this software tool. But of course, there are an incredible number of cyber attacks or attempted attacks every day, both in the private sector and on the federal government. And it's much harder to defend against them. As soon as you fix one kind of leak in the system, they're off to another vulnerability. So it's a constant challenge. And there are questions now about this particular company and this software, which has really had a number of problems exposed now over several months.
So, this is the third known instance in the last few years here of foreign hackers being able to break into federal agencies. I mean, should the average person be worried about the vulnerability of their information? Should the United States be worried about the vulnerability of sensitive government information?
I think there's a cause for concern, both for the individual citizen and for the federal government. There's a huge amount of money being spent on this and a huge effort to try to shore up cyber defenses across the federal government. They think they've made a lot of progress, and I think the jury's out now. There was an attack in 2020 by Russian intelligence hackers that hit 9 agencies. That was very serious and damaging. There was another attack in 2021 that emanated from in this case, this is a private cyber criminal gang, but it has Russian links. And at the moment, the government does not believe it's directly connected to the Russian government. But I think we're going to be hearing more about this from Congress. And there's still a lot of unanswered questions about how this came to happen and maybe it could have been prevented.
OK, Dan, thank you so much.
In Pittsburgh, a federal jury is set to continue deliberations today on 63 charges against the alleged shooter at the Tree of Life Synagogue massacre. Closing arguments in the trial wrapped up yesterday after 11 days of emotional testimony. Robert Bowers is accused of fatally shooting 11 Jewish people in 2018 in what was called the worst anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. He has pleaded not guilty. And new this morning, Pope Francis has left the hospital in Rome where he was recovering from abdominal surgery.
The 86-year-old pontiff left the hospital in a wheelchair and stopped to say hello to well-wishers and medical staff who gathered outside. NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Livanga joins us now from Rome with the latest. So, Claudio, good morning. How did Pope Francis look, and what did he say to reporters?
Good morning. Well, he was wheeled out of the hospital early this morning on a wheelchair. And when a journalist asked him how he was doing, well, he said, "I'm still alive." Now, this is not the first time he says that, especially when he comes out, he's going in and out of hospital. But certainly the fact that the first thing we heard him say since he's been recovering in that hospital for a week is a joke, essentially. He's just joking around. And the fact that he retained a sense of humor certainly is as good as a sign as any. Now, after that, he went to the Basilica of St. Mary Major here in Rome, where he usually goes to thank the Virgin Mary, pray to the Virgin Mary after every international trip or when he comes out of hospital. And now we believe he's back in the Vatican, where he will continue to rest and recover. Lindsay.
Yeah, and Claudio, Stephen here. It's good to see him in good spirits, but there have been other health scares with the Pope. So what are doctors saying about this incident and the time he spent in the hospital?
Well, the doctors have been fairly positive about his recovery. For a week now, we've had 2 bulletins coming out of the Vatican, also that also included the assessment by the medical staff, and they continue to say that the surgery was successful, that he reacted well to both the surgery and also the general anesthesia, which is always dangerous for an 86-year-old person or patient, and that the post-surgery course was regular. Now, they also, though, advise that he should continue to rest and recover, because the recovery from such an operation takes weeks. And that is maybe why the Pope has confirmed, the Vatican has confirmed the private audiences that the Pope has scheduled from now on with heads of states or members of the church. But they have cancelled for now the general audience that was scheduled to take place next Wednesday. The general audience is a meeting with a lot of people, a lot of faithful in a convention hall within the Vatican, perhaps to allow him to just rest a little more rather than, and of course, fully recover in time for perhaps the next international trips. Lindsay, Stephen?
Yeah, let's talk about those. I mean, when a lot of us try and recover, it's, sit on the couch and watch Netflix. When you're the Pope, you can't necessarily do that. He already has planned upcoming trips to Portugal, to Mongolia. Are there concerns about his busy summer schedule?
Well, for now, there is no indication from the Vatican that the surgery will have any impact on those travels. As a matter of fact, it is very much possible that this surgery, which was not an emergency, but it was something that has been planning for a while, was actually done now, so to allow him to fully recover in time for those trips. The next trips are on between the 2nd and the 6th of August to Lisbon in Portugal, where he's expected to attend World Youth Day, something he really cares about. He's attended all World Youth Days since he was elected Pope 10 years ago. And then there is an actually more difficult one to Mongolia between the end of August and the beginning of September. No sign yet that any of those trips will be affected, but we'll have to wait and see. Back to you guys.
Okay, Claudio, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.